Hello and welcome back. It's puzzle time with Sudoku Sleuth, and today we're going to be playing Parity ships. Now, I'm not entirely sure why the title of the puzzle is called Parity ship, but at the same time, I can't. It's sort of my fault that I don't know this. So Kennet's dad, who's the constructor of this puzzle, actually sent it to me 3 weeks ago. So there was plenty of time for me to actually ask the question, why is it called Parity ship? Because when I look at the grid, I don't entirely get it. But hopefully when you guys see the grid, you will, and at least you'll be able to tell me. Now, what we've got here in the thumbnail is Sleuth admiring, I guess, a model of a container ship. For some reason, right next to a harbor where there is container ship in there, probably loading and unloading. A few years ago, I was actually lucky enough to do a piece of work for one of the large container shipping / logistic companies. And I actually was able to visit one of these ships. At the time, I'm not sure if it still is, but at the time it was the largest container ship in the world. And they're just absolutely phenomenal constructions, behemoths on the sea. We were lucky enough to actually visit the bridge, talk to the captain and the staff, not just take a look at, the ship itself, which is still quite interesting. Right, anyway, let's take a look at today's puzzle and figure out why it is called Parity Ship by Kennet's dad. Just one quick thing. So as usual, Kennet's dad is got all the rules up front, and we've got German Whispers, XV and Killer Cages. If you're already familiar, you may as well jump to the rules. To the solve if you need any help. But essentially, a quick reminder for any of you that are not familiar with these rules. Normal Sudoku rules apply. That means place the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, in every column, and in every 3x3 box. Then we have the German whisper lines. So adjacent digits on a green line must differ by at least 5. If that is a 2, this would have to be 7, 8, or 9. This would also have to be a 7, 8, or 9, given they're on the neighbors, to be 5 or more away. If that was an 8, for example, this would have to be from 1, 2, or 3. Well, not 2 because it's in the same column, 1 or 3. And you end up with this pattern where you're oscillating from high, low, low, low being 1, 2, 3, 4, high being 6, 7, 8, 9. Notice I do not include the digit 5. Up to the viewer to determine why that is the case. Digits in cells separated by an X sum to 10. If that was a 2, for example, this would have to be an 8 to make these two cells add up to 10. Equally, a V digit separated by a V must sum up to 5. So if this was a 2, this would have to be a 3 to make sure that these two cells add up to 5. There's nothing about negative constraints, so a 3 with a 7 here, these two cells add up to a 10, not a problem. A 2 with a 3 in here, these two cells add up to a 5, also not a problem. Lastly, we have digits in digits in cages sum to the number given. These 4 cells need to add up to 30. These 4 cells need to add up to 13. The fact that I've actually put 2 and 3 down, I suspect it's going to break it. 1, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, it's too big. Well, only thing left to say is, as usual, if you want to play along, if you want to uncover why this is called Parity Ship, link will be in the description down below as usual. And with that said, I'm going to restart the clock, see how I get on. Now, one thing I'm going to immediately do, when you come across a 2-star difficulty rated puzzle and you can place a digit in under 10 seconds, you take it. And you're going to say, Sleuth, how come? Well, when you have a 30 cage in 4 cells, this is forced. This has to be made up of the digits 6, 7, 8, 9. So these are, I'm going to use red for 6, 7, 8, 9. We're going to do a bit of coloring today. These are all placed in here. That means that these 2 cells, which are on the German whisper line and cannot be 5s, are low. They're from 1, 2, 3, 4. Lastly, we have this V, which can only be 1, 4 to add up to 5, or 2, 3, all of which are low. These are also low. And this is an excellent start because it allows us to start coloring all of these cells, since they oscillate between red and blue, or high and low. We can keep going actually with this pattern here. This is definitely low, this is definitely high. And we can repeat. may as well, just since we can. So I don't know what this one is, and I think that's maybe kind of the trick to this puzzle, is to figure out what this is. Since I don't know, but I still know that it oscillates, I know it is purple and orange. The question is whether purple is blue or red. And column 7, well, the problem is we've got 2 of each here, so it doesn't help. Kind of. I mean, it does tell me that I'm left with a remainder that is red or 5, because essentially the red, there's 3 of them already that we can see. Whether it's orange or purple, that's 3 reds. I'm left with another red and a 5, because a 5 can't be in any of these cells. I've got essentially the opposite happening in here, because I've got, again, 2 oranges and 2 purples, but this time 2 reds. So these 2 are blue and a 5, or low and a 5. Got all 4 blue digits in here, 3. So this is another red 5. And that's excellent, because I can place another 5. Now, if you're not familiar with X-Wings, watch them in action. I've got an X-Wing of 5s in here. We know that there is at least 1 5 there. We know that there's at least 1 5 here. Now, whichever one is the 5, let's say it's this one, that can't be a 5 in the same row. This would have to be a 5. And vice versa, if that's a 5, this can't be a 5, this would have to be the 5. Long way of saying is that that can't be a 5. Otherwise, it would break this Sudoku grid. So that's the 5. That's a high digit. I can sort of keep playing this. 5 is in one of 2 cells in here. And it actually gives me a 5 in box 5. Ironically, that's another 5. No 5s in here. 5 is in one of these 2 cells. Can we go all the way? 5s, yes, is in one of 2 cells. And remember that X-Wing? That can't be a 5, otherwise again it will break the grid. That tells me that this is the 5, that is the 5. These 2 are grey. These 2 are not grey. We can place a 5 now in box 3. That is another 5. That's not a 5, that is helpful. Oh, we're very nearly there. 5, 5. Yep, that's 5. That's not 5, that is 5. I think that is 9 5s. Yeah, that's 5s done. Right. 13 cage now is very interesting. And the reason I say that is, with a 5 placed in it, we're left with a remainder of 8 only. Now, if I try and place anything other than low digits in here, I'm going to break this cage, because the next lowest digit would be 6, and to add up to 8 plus the 5, that would require a double 1, which is clearly nonsense. So, long way of saying is that all of these now, all the cells inside the 13 cage have to be low or blue. Orange is red. These are blue. I need to add up to 8. So this is made up of 1, 3, 4. So 2 ways of doing 8 in 3 cells. It's either 1, 2, 5, which is not available, or 1, 3, 4. And X is always made up of 1 of each. That means that this is 2, 8. And this is high from 6, 7, 9. We can keep coloring. That's 4 cells, 4 blue cells in row 5. Therefore, this is high. This is low. That's 2. That's 8. I've got 4 blue cells in row 6. That is a high digit. That is a low digit. This can't be a 4, can it? Yeah, that would require a double 9. This can be, however. This can't be a 4. So actually, where is 4 in box 5? Not here. That would require a double 9. It's got 2 adjacent digits. Not there. Again. Not here. 2 9s in the same column. That's the only place for a 4. That makes all of these from 1, 2, 3. Don't normally like to pencil mark this much, but I'll keep at it. That's not a 2. Right, here's something. So I was just sort of scouring around looking for where can, I mean, maybe what I'm going to do actually is just focus on the blues for a second and just pencil mark what these look like. So this is 1, 2, 3, because I can do an 8, 9, 8, 9 again. 1, 2, 3. Unfortunately, that can have a 4. But look at what happens when I get to column 8. Only place that is possible for a 4 is one of these two cells. That's not a 4. That is 1 or 3. I didn't mean to put a corner pencil mark for a 4 in here. That is 1, 2, 3 as well. That can be a 4, that can be, that can be, that can be. Oh, that's frustrating. That is more than I would have wanted. This is a minimum of 7 because we've got at least 1 and 2. Potentially an 8. So am I going to do this for the rest? 7, 8, 9, 7, 8, 9, 7, 8, 9. So there is a 6 in here with, well, these two are red. This is also 7, 8, 9. Yeah, these can be 6s, so not helpful. And of course it can be in here. This is also 7, 8, 9. It's not an 8 actually. It's not a 7. I've got 3 neighbors. That's a 9. Sleuth, pay attention. This is 6, 7. This is 8, 9. Not quite. That's not a 9. But it can be a 6. This can be a 6. Interesting. 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4. Not very helpful. I should stop just pencil marking random bits around the screen. That doesn't have to contain a 3. I admit I'm a little bit stuck here now. Felt like a flurry of activities and then I'm just not quite seeing it. Where am I going wrong? So this is again 7, 8, 9. Do I need to keep coloring more of the grid? Is that what I'm meant to be doing? One of these is a 2 because of this 2. There's a 4 in here for sure. Right. There's column 7. That's the only place for a 4, which is helpful because that is no longer a 1, 4 option. That is a 2, 3 option. This is now 1 or 4. And unfortunately, it can be a 4 with... It can't be a 4. That would require a 9 in the same box. That is a 1. That's not a 1. Where does 4 go in box 2? Can only be in here. That's a 4. That's 2 or 3. Which makes this a 1, 4 pair. Because that's 2 or 3. That gives us 3, 2, 1. 1 can't be here because that's not a, sorry, 4 can't be in here because that's not a 6. That's the 1, that's the 4, that's the 9. We need another 2, 3. Can't be here. It's somewhere in these two cells. Okay. Not enough. Not a 9. Well, not a 9 either. A 3 in here tells us, sorry, 3 there means that has to be an 8. This is now 6, 7. And it can actually be a 6 here because we've already got a 1. That has to be higher. That is, well, it's not 6 or 7 or 9. That is an 8. 6 and 7 are not here. Okay, well, one of them is there. Hang on. Yeah, one of them is there because this is 8 and 9 seeing this cell. This is, if I look at the rest of it, well, one of them is an 8. Not very helpful. 2 cells in here that are from... Where does 9 go in this column? Down here. Where does 9 go in this box? It can only be in these two cells because of these 9s. So there's a 9. I mean, I will corner pencil mark, but been managing without it so far. It's a bit of a shame to fall back on it now. 2 and 3 means that's not a 3. This is another 1, 4. A 1, 4 turns that into a 2, 3 again. 2, 3 means that's the 1. Hang on. Yeah, because it can't be a 4. That's the 1, that's the 4, that's a 9. That's a 1, 3, 4. Not 1, that's a 2, 3 pair. We need a 1 in here somewhere. That's not a 1. 3, Sleuth, come on, come on. 1, 2. So we need 3 in here as well next to the 4 with something else. We don't know what these are. That's a double 1. It can actually, this can still be a 6. May very well be a 6 now, given how it's been set up. This is at least a 7. That is still true. This is at least an 8, because we've got a 3 near here. That is the 8. That is the 9. That's not the 9. That's the 9. No, 6 or 7. And then we have 1, 6, 7 in there. I mean, I'll pencil mark it, but this can't be a 6, Sleuth. But it can be a 7. No, it can't be because we've got 1 and 2 in here. So that's not going to be 1 or 2. This is at least a 3. And it's not a 9. It is definitely a 3 because this can only be an 8. Now we've got 1, 3, and 4 all looking at this cell. That's a 2. That's a 3. Not a 3. This is not a 3. Not a 1 either. This is 2 or 4. I can resolve these. That's 2, that's 3. Where does 8 go in this row? Can only be in here. 8, 9. This is another 6, 7 just to complete the column. How about resolve this 2, 4? No, no, no. Still no. Another 6, 7, not resolved. That can't be a 6. It's got a double 2. That's a 7. That's a 6, 7, 6. Not resolved still. That is a 9. Essentially, we have 3, 4 with a 6, 7. Okay. Just a bit of Sudoku really to finish up, isn't it? This is 6, 7. Still not resolved. That is not an 8. That is resolved. That's another 6, 7. 6, 7. That's a 4. When I say 6, 7, it can only be a 7. This is a double 2. That's 7. That's 6. That is 6. That 4 is done. Oh, I think all the 4s are nearly done. No. Yep. I can do this. Not a 4. 4s are done. Right. What do we have in here? We've got 2, 3, 4. Where does 2 go? That's the 2. 2 now in box 8. Can only be in here. Surprisingly, still not resolved. What do we have in here? We have 1, is it 8 and 6, 7? Looks it. That's the 1. The 8 can only be in here. And this is another 6, 7. That's another 6, 7. It's a 7 because we've already got 6 in the column. So that's 6, 7, and 3. That's not 3. That is the 3. That's another 6, 7. It's a 6. We've got a 7 in the row. That's an 8, 7, 6. Right, we've got this 1, 7 pair, 2, 3 pair that are resolved. That's 3, that's 2. This is resolved as well. That's 6, that's 7. Where does 1 go? Well, it's in one of these two places. So what are these two? They are 1 and 6. That 6 tells me the order. That's 6, that's 1. That gives me 7 and 1. And if I've not made any mistakes, we've got a 9, which can only go in here. And finally, a 7 for the finish. What a lovely puzzle. Solve counter of 2. Interesting. What a beautiful puzzle. Kennet's dad, thank you so much for the submission. Once again, another phenomenal puzzle. I'm still confused about Parity ship. Polarity ship, maybe. I know Gobbler would love to actually sort of slot in that joke. Hope that you guys enjoyed the puzzle and the video. Do check out Kennet's dad's Logic Masters Germany webpage. He did actually send me a submission just yesterday, which is about a new variant. So don't be surprised if I feature it pretty much straight away tomorrow. That's it for now. Check out, probably I'm going to say German Whispers. This was very much all about that today. So there is plenty on the channel. I think there's almost 90 puzzles we featured with German Whisper lines. So take a look at those for now. Bye-bye.